right, so tonight, many of you have questions about this storm.
And we're here to get you the answers. So we're going to bring back meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees to break it down. I believe, is Brad here? Brad, are you?
He's here.
Brad,
I don't know if you wanted to.
Brad is here. Let's dive into
We
some
can
of
both do them.
All right, we'll do a tag team.
I didn't even see
I'll
Brad.
go over to the, you want me guys to go over to the weather pod and we can take them from there so we can stand next to each other?
Sure.
That might be easier.
Yeah, we'll be cash. All right, take it away.
Yeah, we're
Nick.
always cash.
All right,
It's like,
first question, you guys.
Our
When?
director for the biggest loop right now.
Thank you
Sorry,
guys.
Robert.
Thanks, guys in the booth.
All right, first question. This is a two-part question, kind of. So when should we start the slow drip with the pipes? Is there a temperature outside to look out for?
I mean, first of all, I would know where your water shut-off valve is right now.
For sure, yeah. And I think two things. I mean, I think dripping your pipe or dripping your water for your pipes probably something more like Tuesday morning, Monday night, if at all possible. I think it'd be more of an issue if we lost power and you didn't have heat in your house. I think most modern homes, unless you have an older home with exposed crawl space and pipes, think about pipes under your house that might be exposed. And you probably have had issues in the past. You're going to know to drip them. Most cases, you're not going to need to drip them. You just need to keep your house warm enough. Open those cabinets underneath your sink so all the pipes stay warm.
I was going to say, I live in an apartment complex. I know that's obviously different than Brad, you know, making the big bucks. Just kidding. But in most modern apartment complexes, yes, exactly. Just kidding. No, that's like Panthers players. No. But anyway, so with apartment complexes, like Brad mentioned, especially the newer ones, they tell you to drip the pipes and open the cabinet doors. So I still think you should, just for plausible deniability if something were to happen, and then you know that you weren't the one that caused it. But it's really, like he mentioned, more so like a middle of the storm, if not post-storm issue. So it's not really about the low.
Yeah, it's not going to be tonight. It's probably going to be tomorrow night into Tuesday and those days after. And usually when I see issues with pipes in Charlotte, it's the prolonged cold snaps, not one night of cold. It's when we get to day 2, 3, and 4, as you mentioned, where it's cold for those several days because the water just gets colder and colder.
Good to know, because I actually left coming in here earlier and thought, oh, I didn't do the little drip thing. All right, so that's good. How about this? When will the power outage risk be the highest?
Oh, I think this will be tomorrow at this time. And it's always hard to forecast this. We think there'll be scattered power outages, but it's virtually impossible to know where, because that has a lot to do with the trees and the power lines. But in general, in ice storms, it's not when the freezing rain is falling, it's towards the tail end. If you think about it, freezing rain is like adding weights to something, and as soon as you add the last couple of weights, it usually breaks. So it's usually towards the tail end, and if we get wind at the end as well, Brittany.
I was about to say, it was the wind gusts on Monday, like the 25 to 30 miles an hour, that even if like your line is on the verge of snapping, that gust could be like that last little thing. I also think that it's, like you said, virtually impossible to know exactly, but there's parts of Charlotte that could be more prone, like an East Charlotte, you think about all the big trees and things like that. So if you're one who has had issues in the past, like during severe weather.
Yeah, if you had a windy day, and like there's parts of towns we know that it seems like when there's a high breeze, we know parts of Matthews and parts of East Charlotte, like you said, there's power outages all the time because the grid there is just more susceptible to bigger trees. So the other thing is, don't let your guard down when things start to melt, because I have seen ice storms where the branches start to release their ice and they kind of fling around and ice falls off. And sometimes in the thaw cycle, you can see power lines come down as well.
Oh, yeah. I would also think, too, that would be like maybe not parking your car under like a big tree like that with
Probably a good idea, especially things with big surface areas. Leland cypress, cedar trees, pine trees that have all their needles on them, they tend to collect ice really well. And you're going to see tomorrow a lot of trees bent down. Hopefully they go back up. Most of them will recover, but hopefully the branches come down and not the whole tree, because the whole tree is when you get really big problems.
Okay.
All right, we got another one. Should I put salt down on the steps, driveway, now or after the storm moves out?
Oh, we got this one a lot, I think, during the week. I would put it down now. In my neighborhood, we did it today. My son spread it out there. That way you can stay ahead of it, because once the ice builds up, especially as cold as it is, Brittany, sometimes even putting ice melt on there, it doesn't do a good job on thick ice. It does a better job at the little ice.
Yeah, I also think back to being a kid growing up in Atlanta. We had ice storms all the time, and my mom would like forget, and then she'd be like, go do it after. Well, now I'm like slipping and sliding all the way down the driveway trying to put it down, and now I need multiple layers. So now I'm stuck outside, and it's like bitterly cold for multiple days. So I feel like now, before it gets to be 8 degrees.
I've seen in the past where the ice is built up real thick and you throw out salt, and it doesn't melt it, it just melts a hole straight through where the ice, where the sleet or the salt particles are. And so you just have ice, but now it has holes in it.
Yeah, which I guess means more moisture is just going to make it more icy later.
Exactly.
All right, very good. Great questions, everybody. Just keep on coming, because I know a lot of you guys are fielding
Do you guys
questions.
have any questions?
Yeah, Nick, Jane.
I feel like
Producers, Marie. You
No,
got it?
our viewers are great.
they answered all of our questions
Yeah.
right now.
And like you said, Brad, if someone has a question, probably.
Someone else is thinking it.
Exactly.
Yeah, we were thinking it.
Just like the drip one.
We are going to head to break. We'll be back here in just a few minutes.